Hey everybody, you're here at bodydoc.net and you're in my injury concepts pages. This one's an interesting one. This one's really far afield from what I particularly do for a living. But again, in my quest to understand how the human body works, as I've listed here on my website, I want to know everything from astral energies from the universe that might affect me, all the way down to the minute workings of my DNA, and even deeper than that. And one of the subjects that I encountered many years ago in undergrad, I did a research project in my senior year on the Human Genome Project, which got me really interested in genetics and in molecular genetics. And even back then, and that was in 1991, I learned of a concept called the telomere. And the telomere was this sort of protective cap at the end of my chromosomes. And very early in the advent of studying the human genome and mapping the human genome, a brilliant researcher described what he thought were these caps, these protective caps at the end of all the chromosomes. As you can list here, these chromosomes kind of look like this. And they've got these little protective caps, those little white caps there. And the length of those caps, the length of the telomere, seemed to predict the aging process. So when we're born, perhaps that telomere is very large, and then as we age, it gets smaller and smaller. And believe it or not, as I did the research for this page was probably created on my old website around 5 to maybe 8 years ago. I realized that the telomere not only was not a concept that was gone, it's like the Big Bang Theory. We wonder once in a while whether these theories are just going to, sort of go the way of the dodo bird and have us come up with new information that dispels them. But like the Big Bang Theory, the telomere theory is not only there, but it's been researched even further. And why I put this page up on a chiropractic website? Well, obviously I'm not doing genetic engineering or genetic therapies here in this office, but it was complexity. Many of the pages that you're going to encounter here on my website, it's more about eating a little humble pie. I use the expression here in my office all the time that many people that come to see me would be more apt to try to tinker with the human body in nutritional supplements and in various other methods of self-help, even more so than they would maybe even change the oil in their car. Something simple: drain plug, bad oil out, put the drain plug back in, put the fresh oil up top. Most people won't even do that, yet they will go and they will try to solve complex biological systems using glucosamine or using vitamins or using various other methods, all off of a shelf, off of a health food store or nutritional store. So I think it's more just a step back and a reverence for the complexity. When I read this, I thought, well, whoa, what if there was something that I could do to help protect my telomeres so I wouldn't age as quickly? So here's how it applies. As I digressed, and I wanted to actually go back in time and say, okay, what can I do? Could I come up with a product? Could I come up with a system? Could I come up with exercises or anything? What helps me protect those telomeres? And the articles that I read on these telomeres were so unbelievably complex. So you have got forces in the body that break the telomere down and will perhaps age you more rapidly, but you also have, as everything is in the body, protective mechanisms, enzyme systems that protect the telomeres and help it rebuild. And so this is the real takeaway from this video, is the yin and the yang, the beautiful balance of it all, is that when the body is healthy, when it's functioning well, it repairs a lot of damage. This goes for oxidative stress that was in the video on ultra prevention. There was the idea that if I exercise too much, I'm bringing in so much oxygen into the body that the free radical theory of aging would commence. It makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Hey, wow, I shouldn't exercise. If you just take that information quickly on the surface, you'd be like, well, if oxidation ages me because of free radical formation, I might not want to exercise. But what you're not accounting for is the glutathione mechanisms that the cell produces in the state of oxidation. So for everything that you might think is going to be destructive, there's a repair mechanism that turns on in full bore and helps protect you from the damage. Everything, of course, having a point of diminishing return. I have worked, again, I think in a couple of the other videos I've made, I've discussed what I saw at the Ironman competition in Hawaii. Unbelievably fit people, but perhaps aging themselves a little bit more rapidly than I personally would like. So I did see the extremes of everything. Doing nothing that's not good. And doing too much, that's not good. So it all comes back to some sort of finding a balance for you. The trade-off being, if you want to compete and win the Ironman, you're probably going to take a few years off your life because the oxidative stress is just too great, even for those self-repair mechanisms to be able to deal with. Those are extreme activities that people are being involved with. So the takeaway here, the telomere, is perhaps a bit genetically oriented. The length of those telomeres differs in people. You've got some families that live into their hundreds, and you got other families that are dying early. They're not all dying, of course, of short telomeres, but as far as an aging process and the theory being, it's been well supported now for over 20 years since I first read about it. It's still a very viable concept in the aging process, and it brings, again, the humbling nature of, you read the article that I have, just begin to dig into the beginning of the article, and if you're really ambitious, you can go further with it, and you're going to find out that this body of ours is an unbelievably complex machine. So you sleep right, you eat right, you remain happy, have love, have community in your life. These are extremely important things. Keeping your world relatively clean and free of toxins would be another pursuit. It all comes back to some beautiful symmetry that the body has when it's left alone and left to do these things. So I hope this helps you. I hope it inspires you to pursue all these things. Take care.